Happy Friday. Thought we would read one more book together before we are out of school, which this one's short, so we should have no problem finishing it. It's How to Eat Fried Worms. So let's see, there are how many chapters? Oh my, it's in Roman numerals. 20. There's a lot of chapters, but they're all like a page, 2 pages, so I think we'll have no problem. Oh my. Okay, so yeah, all of the chapters are Roman numerals. Look at all those. Oh my, and then there's a few more. So, but they're all like 1 page, 2 pages, 2 pages, 1 page. So they're all small. So how about I just read the first several pages? Don't know how many chapters we'll get through. And I'll do several a day, and we should be able to finish long before our last day together. We have 4 days of school next week and 5 days of school the week after, so 9 days after today. Okay? So, how to eat fried worms. The back says, people are always daring Billy to do zany things, but Billy may have bitten off more than he can chew when he takes his friend Alan's bet that Billy can't eat 15 worms in 15 days. Oh, why did y'all want to read this? If Billy wins, Alan has to fork over $50. Billy wants the money to buy a used mini bike, so he's ready to dig in. He sets up mustard, ketchup, salt, pepper, sugar, and lemon to disguise the disgusting taste. Good news for Billy. Once he gets going, he finds himself actually getting hooked on these nasty things. Oh, gross. I think I read this when I was little. Bad news for Billy. Alan is cooking up schemes to make Billy worm out of this bet. Will Billy keep up his wormy work for 15 days? No cheating. Keep eating worm by worm by worm. Oh my gosh. So what do you think? Is he going to get through all 15 of them before the story is out? I don't know. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't get through the first worm. What about you? Okay. Look at all these. Hey, Tom. Where were you last night? Yeah, you missed it. Alan and Billy came up from the front walk. Tom was sitting on his porch steps bouncing a tennis ball. Old man Tater caught Joe as we were climbing through the fence, so we all had to go back, and he made us pile the peaches on his kitchen table, and then he called our mothers. Joe's mother hasn't let him out yet. Where were you? Tom stopped bouncing his tennis ball. He was a tall, skinny boy who took his troubles very seriously. My mother kept me in. What for? Well, I wouldn't eat my dinner. Alan sat down on the step below Tom and began to chew his thumbnail. Well, what was it? Salmon casserole. Billy flopped down on the grass, chunky, snub-nosed, and freckled. Well, salmon casserole's not so bad. So wouldn't she just let you eat 2 bites? Asked Alan. Sometimes my mother says, well, all right, if I'll just eat 2 bites. Well, I wouldn't even eat 1. Well, that's stupid, Billy said. 1 bite can't hurt you. I'd eat 1 bite of anything before I'd let them send me up to my room right after supper. Tom shrugged. Well, how about mud? Alan asked Billy. You wouldn't eat a bite of mud. Alan argued a lot. Small, knobby-kneed, nervous, gnawing at his thumbnail. Knobby-kneed, nervous, and gnawing. They all are sounds, but knobby-kneed starts with K's. Nervous is a N, and gnawing is G-N. How do you spell it? His face smudged, his red hair mussed. Excuse me. Shirt tail hanging out, shoelaces untied. Sure I would, Billy said. Mud? What's mud? Just a little dirt with some water in it. My father says everyone eats about a pound of dirt every year anyway. Well, how about poison? Well, that's different, Billy rolled over on his back. Is your mother going to make you eat the leftovers today at lunch? He asked Tom. She never has before. Well, how about worms? Alan asked Billy. Tom's sister Cat squirmed out from under the porch and rubbed against Billy's knee. Sure, Billy said. Why not? Worms are just dirt. If I can get through this or not. Yeah, but they bleed, so you'd have to cook them. Cows bleed. I bet $100 you wouldn't really eat a worm. You talk big now, but you wouldn't if you were sitting at the dinner table with a worm on your plate. I bet I would. I bet I'd eat 15 worms for somebody if somebody would bet me $100. You really want to bet? I'll bet you $50 you can't eat 15 worms. I really will. Where are you going to get $50? In my savings account, I've got $130.79 in my savings account. I know because last week I put the $5 my grandma gave me for my birthday. Your mother wouldn't let you take it out. She would if I lost the bet. She'd have to. I'd tell her I was going to sell my stamp collection otherwise, and I bought that with my own money that I earned mowing lawn, so I can do whatever I want with it. I bet you $50 you can't eat 15 worms. Come on, you're chicken. You know you can't do it. I wouldn't do it. If salmon casserole makes me sick, think what 15 worms would do. Joe came scuffing up the walk, flopped down beside Billy. He was a small boy with dark hair, and a long nose and big brown eyes. What's going on? Come on, said Alan to Billy. Tom can be your second, and Joe will be mine, just like in a duel. You'll think it's so easy. Here's your chance to make $50. Billy dangled a leaf in front of the cat, but the cat just rubbed against his knee, purring. What kind of worms? Regular worms. Not those big green ones that get on the tomatoes. I won't eat those, and I won't eat them all at once. It might make me sick. 1 worm a day for 15 days, and he can eat them any way he wants, says Tom. Boiled, stewed, fried, fricasseed. Yeah, but we provide the worms, said Joe, and there has to be witnesses present when he eats them, either me or Alan or somebody we can trust, not just you and Billy. Okay, Alan said to Billy. Billy scratched the cat's ears. $50, that was a lot of money. How bad could a worm taste? He'd eaten fried liver, salmon loaf, mushrooms, tongue, and pig's feet. Other kids' parents were always nagging them to eat. His had begun to worry about how much he ate. Not that he was fat, he just hadn't worked off all of his winter blubber yet. Yeah, me either. He slid his hand into his shirt and squeezed the sides of his stomach. Worms were just dirt, and dirt wasn't fattening. If he won $50, he could buy that mini bike that George Cunningham's brother had promised to sell him in September before he went away to college. Heck, he could gag anything down for $50, couldn't he? He looked up. I can use ketchup or mustard or anything like that? As much as I want. Alan nodded. Okay. Billy stood up. Okay. No, said Tom. That's not fair. He and Alan and Joe were wandering around behind the barns at Billy's house, arguing over where to dig for the first worm. What do you mean it's not fair? Nobody said anything about where the worms were supposed to come from. We can get them anywhere we want. Well, not from a manure pile, said Tom. That's not fair. Even if we didn't make a rule about something, you still have to be fair. What difference does it make where the worm comes from? A worm's a worm. So gross. There's nothing wrong with manure. Oh my gosh, guys, sorry, I can't stop yawning. It comes from cows, just like milk, Joe said. Joe was sly, devious, and a schemer. The manure pile had been his idea. You and Billy have got to be fair, too, said Alan to Tom. Besides, we'll dig in the old part of the pile where it doesn't smell that much anymore. Does that really make a difference if you're still pulling it out of poop? Come on, said Tom, starting off across the field, dragging his shovel. If it was fair, you wouldn't be so anxious about it. Would you eat a worm from a manure pile? I wouldn't eat a worm, period, said Joe, so you can't go by that. Yeah, but if your mother told you to go out and pick some daisies for the supper table, would you pick daisies off of a manure pile? Well, my mother wouldn't ask me. She'd ask my sister. You know what I mean. Alan, Tom, and Joe leaned on their shovels under a tree in the apple orchard, watching those worms they had dug squirming on a flat rock. Not him, said Tom, pointing to the night crawler. Why not? Just a little picture. Look at him. He'd choke a dog. Geez, exploded Alan. You expect us to pick one Billy can just gulp down like an ant or a nit? Gulping is not eating. The worm has got to be big enough so Billy has to cut it into bites and eat it with a fork off a plate. It's this one or nothing, said Alan, picking up the night crawler. Tom considered the matter. It would be more fun watching Billy try to eat the night crawler, he grinned. Boy, it was huge. A regular python. Wait till Billy saw it. We let you choose where to dig, said Alan. After all, Tom thought, Billy couldn't expect to win $50. By just gulping down a few measly little baby worms. All right, come on. He turned and started back towards the barn, dragging his shovel. We're on the third chapter. I'll read one more and then I'll stop. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Billy was doing push-ups in the deserted horse barn. He wasn't worried about eating the first worm, but people were always daring him to do things, and he found it was better to look ahead to try and figure things out and get himself ready. Last winter, Alan had dared him to sleep out all night in the igloo they had built in Tom's backyard. Well, why not? Billy had thought to himself, what could happen? And about midnight, huddled, shivering under his blankets in the darkness, he began to wonder if he should just give up and go home. His feet felt like aching stones in his boots. Even his tongue inside his mouth was cold. Half an hour later, he was stubbornly dancing about outside in the moonlight to warm himself. Tom's dog Martha had come along with 6 other dogs, all in a pack, and Billy had coaxed them into the igloo and blocked the door with an orange crate after the dogs had stopped wrestling and nipping and barking and sniffing around. They had all gone to sleep in a heap with Billy in the middle and was as warm as an onion in a stew. But he hadn't been able to think of anything special to do to prepare himself for eating a worm, so he was just limbering up in general. Push-ups, knee bends, jumping jacks, red-faced perspiring. Nearby on an orange crate, he'd set out bottles of ketchup and Worcestershire sauce, jars of piccalilli and mustard. I don't even know what that piccalilli is. Box of crackers, salt and pepper shakers, lemons, slice of cheese, his mother's tin cinnamon and sugar shaker, a box of Kleenex, a jar of maraschino cherries, some horseradish, and a plastic honey bear. Tom's head appeared around the door. Ready? Billy scrambled up, brushing back his hair. Yeah. Ta-ra! Tom flung the door open. Alan marched in, carrying a covered silver platter in both hands. Joe slouched along beside him with a napkin over one arm, nodding and smiling obsequiously. He was smiling. Tom dragged another orange crate over beside the first. Alan set the silver platter on it. A chair for the monsieur. Good gracious, look at these words. Come on, Billy said, cut the clowning. Tom found an old milking stool in one of the horse stalls. Joe dusted it off with his napkin, showing his teeth, and then ushered Billy onto it. Ladies and gentlemen, shouted Alan, I present my masterpiece, Verme à la mode. He swept the cover off the platter. Billy cried, recoiling. Here's a picture. All right. Comment in the comments below. Would you eat a worm for $50? Well, would you eat 15 worms a day? 15 worms, 15 days for $50. I think you'd have to up the money, and I don't think I could do it.